A very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Before we go into your stories in detail, let's take a look at the headlines.
High Court of Australia issues an injunction preventing the return of 153 purportedly Sri Lankan asylum seekers to Sri Lanka. 41 Sri Lankan illegal migrants returned to the island while the Australian opposition leveled charges against the government.
It shows contempt for the Australian people, contempt for the Parliament in terms of telling the Parliament what is going on.
Deputy President of South Africa Cyril Ramaphosa arrives in the country. And couple die in a motor accident involving a police jeep.
On to a story that Newsfirst has been covering extensively in the latest development in the ongoing saga involving the interception of two asylum seeker boats by Australian authorities mid-sea. Australian media reports that the High Court of Australia has issued an injunction preventing the Australian government from returning 153 purportedly Sri Lankan asylum seekers to Sri Lanka. The court order comes amid confirmation by the Sri Lankan Navy that Australian authorities have turned over 41 Sri Lankan illegal migrants who were intercepted by Australian Border Protection authorities in the seas west of Cocos or Keeling Islands last week. The Navy said that 41 Sri Lankans were handed over to a patrol vessel and were brought to the Galle Harbour, following which they were handed over to the Criminal Investigations Department, which is conducting further inquiries.
Issuing a statement, Australia's Immigration Minister Scott Morrison said the illegal entry vessel SIEV was intercepted in late June and that while the vessel was at no point in distress, all persons aboard the SIEV were safe and accounted for. The statement notes that all persons intercepted and returned were subject to an enhanced screening process to ensure Australia's compliance with its international obligations. The statement notes that a single case was identified where a referral was recommended, and in this case, the individual, a Sinhalese Sri Lankan, voluntarily requested to depart the vessel with the other persons being transferred and returned to Sri Lanka. The statement reads further, quote, "We will not allow people smugglers to try and exploit and manipulate Australia's support of these conventions as a tool to undermine Australia's strong border protection regime that is stopping the boats and deaths at sea," unquote. Morrison notes that the government will continue to reject the public and political advocacy of those who have sought to pressure the government into a change of policy. He notes, quote, "Their advocacy, though well-intentioned, is naively doing the bidding of people smugglers who have been responsible for almost 3,200 deaths at sea," unquote. Morrison also expresses gratitude for the efforts of the Sri Lankan Navy to combat people smuggling as well as other Sri Lankan authorities. Meanwhile, Australia's opposition has questioned the operation that was undertaken to hand over the illegal migrants. Shadow Minister for Immigration Richard Marles told the ABC, quote, "Australia's international obligations are reliant upon a credible processing system and we have deep concerns about how that could have been performed by video link at sea in a way which gave an individual assessment when all the time the boat was steaming towards Sri Lanka," unquote. It was last Thursday that Newsfirst reported on the possible existence of this second boat as part of our ongoing coverage of this saga. Australian journalist Sarah White, speaking to Newsfirst, elaborated.
The second boat, we now know, left Sri Lanka and it had 50 people on board, and that's the one that has also been intercepted by the Australian Navy.
However, when Newsfirst made inquiries, both the Sri Lanka Navy and the Ministry of External Affairs denied reports of an impending transfer. It is still not known what happened to the other boat, which was said to be carrying 153 people and was intercepted off Christmas Island more than a week ago.
Look, my understanding is they're still being held in custody on board the customs vessel. My understanding is they're being held on the Ocean Protector, but that's obviously something the government needs to clarify. There are 37 children on board now, that prison ship. 37 children who, over a week ago, last time there was independent contact with those people, were sick. Those children were very sick. They were dehydrated. They'd already been at sea for over 2 weeks. Mr Morrison and Mr Abbott need to start being upfront about what's going on. There's no reason for this ludicrous secrecy. It shows contempt for the Australian people, contempt for the Parliament in terms of telling the Parliament what is going on.
Meanwhile, the Australian High Court has granted an interim injunction to prevent the 153 asylum seekers being returned to the Sri Lankan military by the Australian Navy. In an urgent hearing in Sydney this evening after an application by refugee advocates, Justice Susan Crennan granted an interim injunction that would stop the Australian Navy returning the Sri Lankan asylum seekers who have claimed to be minority Tamils being handed over to the Lankan government, its military or its agents. The order sought to protect 48 people who are named and a further 105 unnamed asylum seekers who are also claiming to be Tamil refugees. Morrison, Foreign Minister Julie Bishop and other senior government ministers have all deflected questioning about the boats, repeating that the government does not comment on operational matters. Senior Coalition Minister Erica Betts yesterday denied the government was disappearing asylum seekers, insisting that Australia would continue to uphold its international obligations in relation to those matters. Morrison, meanwhile, is due to arrive in Sri Lanka on Wednesday, where he is scheduled to hold high-level discussions with government officials, including with President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The ABC reports that Australia's Immigration and Border Protection Minister will also attend the commissioning ceremony of 2 Bay-class patrol boats gifted by Australia to the Sri Lankan government in November last year. Incidentally, the fate of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 carrying over 230 passengers and crew, which is also presumed to have disappeared on the 8th of March this year in the same ocean area, is still unknown. It is the Australian government that is spearheading the search operation for the missing flight. The Australian government has repeatedly given conflicting accounts on the missing flight, and the whereabouts of MH370 are still unknown.
The national event to award teaching appointments to 2,808 National Science Diploma holders was held today under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Appointments were made to National Science Diploma graduates of 2011 and 2013 at the Sugutadasa Stadium in Colombo. The appointments cover a range of subjects including science, maths and information technology. According to the Presidential Media Unit, these teachers will be used to fill up existing vacancies throughout the country, both at national schools and provincial schools. President Mahinda Rajapaksa also took part in the ceremony to declare open a 2-storied Sanghavasya at the Samadhi Buddhist Centre in Kotalavalapura, Ratnapura.
Deputy President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, who is on an official visit to Sri Lanka, arrived in the island today.
The Deputy President of South Africa and the delegation arrived in the country following an invitation extended by the Sri Lankan government. The delegation was welcomed by Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources Management, Nimal Siripala de Silva, and Parliamentarian Sergeant Ivas Gunawardena. The Ministry of External Affairs noted that the Deputy President of South Africa is scheduled to meet political representatives and government officials to hold talks on the reconciliation process of the country.
Are the authorities preparing to introduce a safety sticker for selected goods in the marketplace? Newsfirst Suranga Senanayaka caught up with MP Dr. Harsha De Silva on Newsline to discuss this issue. MP, the government is going to provide safety stickers for selected goods. They say it is for the safety of consumers. What is this program in truth?
In short, it is a program to hit the pockets of millions of consumers and turn 2 or 3 selected individuals into millionaires. This is what the Consumer Affairs Authority is attempting to introduce come the 1st of August.
MP, is a program being implemented to ensure the safety of consumers. Should we not be happy about it?
There is the SLS and ISO certification to ensure the safety of consumers. Batch numbers, their stickers and manufacturing date and expiry date must be stated. There are various such systems.
manufacturing date දාන්න ඕනේ, expiry date දාන්න ඕනේ. මේ වගේ නොයෙකුත් ක්‍රමවේද තියෙනවා පාරිභෝගිකයන්ගේ ආරක්ෂාව.
So what is going to happen here?
මොකද්ද මේ වෙන්න යන්නේ? දැන් මේ වෙන්න යන්නේ මෝන් කියනවා සබන්. මෙන්න මේ වගේ සබන් කැටයක් අතෝ සබන් වලට. හරි?
Well, what is happening in this case is that for a bar of soap like this, or shampoo, cool drinks, toothpaste, etc., the Consumer Affairs Authority will from the 1st of August make suppliers selected by them paste these safety stickers on every single shampoo sachet, cool drink, toothpaste, soap, etc. that they sell.
Toothpaste packet එකේම සිසිල් බීම බෝතලේම සබන් කැටේම අලවන්න ඕනේ කියලා. මේක නොමිලේ දලවන්න. නෑ දැන් අපිට ආරංචි වෙලා තියෙන විදියට මේ මුද්‍රාව.
According to what we have been told, this sticker will cost 2 rupees. The cost of pasting this sticker will be ₹1.75 without using an automated machine. In addition, people have to be hired and transportation costs have to be paid. All of this will take the cost of a single sticker to 4 rupees. Usually, if you go to a small shop in Kotte, people buy shampoo sachets for 7 rupees. If this costs 4 rupees, the cost will increase by 60%.
මේකට රුපියල් 4ක් ගියොත් 160කින් වැඩි වෙනවා. දැන් මොනවද මේ බාණ්ඩ ලයිස්ට් මේ වගේ ස්ටිකර් එකක් ගහන්න නියමිත? දැන් මං ගාව තියෙන්නේ මේ තියෙන්නේ ගැසට් එක.
This is the Gazette notice. It includes cool drinks, bottled water, cooking oil, toothpaste, all types of soap, shampoo, paint, electric switches.
දන්තාලේප, සියලු වර්ගයේ සබන්, ෂැම්පෝ, තීන්ත, විදුලි ස්විච්.
In the recent past, we have seen expired goods entering the market. So a safety sticker like this will be good for the consumers, wouldn't it?
පාරිභෝගිකයට යහපතක් නෙවෙන්නේ. හොඳයි නේ මේක. මෙතන දෙකක් තියෙනවානේ සුරංග. එකක් තමයි
There are two factors here. One is the law of the country. If a person violates the law and fills a water bottle with a different type of water, then that person should be fined. While they have the ability to enforce the law, instead of doing so, they are burdening the ordinary poor people.
සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සුන්ට අත වශයෙන්ම දුප්පත් මිනිස්සුන්ට අති විශාල බරක් පටවන්න යනවා.
This was issued on Monday, the 24th of February 2014. It's July now. What have opposition MPs been doing? What have you been doing regarding this thus far?
Don't say that. We brought these problems to the fore before this was issued. These are called midnight gazettes, notices that are printed at midnight. Usually, when a tax is imposed, the revenue goes to the government, the treasury. In this case, it is not going to the government. The revenue here is going to a selected private company. In the case of a bar of soap, a minimum of 10%. In the case of a sachet of shampoo, it will increase by 50%. Are they asking our people not to bathe? If illicit liquor is being distilled and sold in the market, or if ethanol is brought down, dyed and sold as arak, these are the things that require such measures.
Didn't the government at least inform parliamentarians about this? MP Harsha De Silva says that the burden of this sticker will be placed on the already burdened ordinary consumer. We shall see if opposition parliamentarians will be able to stop this program at least.
අපි බලන්නිමු මේ විපක්ෂයේ മന്ത്രിවරුන්ට හැකි වේවිද මේ වගේ වැඩපිළිවෙලක්වත් නවත්තන්න කියලා.
මේ පක්ෂයේ මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාව හදලා තිබෙන්නේ හොඳ දක්ෂ අපක්ෂපාත පුද්ගලයන්.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබතුමා කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ
ව්‍යවස්ථාවනේ මේක එහෙම ව්‍යවස්ථාවක්.
Former General Secretary of UNP Sirisena Kure and veteran political analyst Dr. Dayan Jaitilaka comments on the UNP tonight at 9:30 p.m. on The Complete Speech.
Welcome back to the news. Although dates have not been announced for the next elections, comments being made by politicians and government officials shows that they are indeed gearing up for one. Here are some comments that were made on the UA Provincial Council election.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා අමුඩ ගහලා තියෙන්නේ වැටට තියලා. මොකද වැටට තියලා අමුඩ ගහුවම ඉස්සරහට
Ranil Wickremesinghe is still tied to the fence. He cannot move forward or backwards. He cannot even move. There is no use in paying heed to individuals who don't have a brain like him. We have begun our campaign to protect our president and re-elect him. The provincial council election is not something big to us. We will win it. We are feeling the pulse of the voters for the next election.
අපි ඡන්දදායකයාගේ නාඩි බලන කාලේ මේක දැන් මේ මැතිවරණයක්නේ.
බදාදා දිනේ හැර ඉතුරු සියලු දිනවල Officers of divisional secretariats go into villages on all days of the week except Wednesday. They announce which village they will be visiting each day. So the people prepare food and drinks and they wait. They come in lines and tell their grievances. They note it all down and go on to the next village. Then, once the election draws closer, they set fire to all these collected documents. It is our responsibility to identify the challenges that the country is facing. We need to realize that there are Western forces attempting to pull the country back. We need to understand the agendas of various factions that attempt to implement this. All of you have a responsibility in this regard. We are people who have always fulfilled this responsibility. Consumption of chicken in the country has increased by 300%. The consumption of rice has doubled. There are 2.8 million motorcycles along with 800,000 three-wheelers. The number of vehicles owned by richer people only amount to 500,000. The common man has more vehicles.
As per the Examinations Act, the Commissioner General of Examinations has been vested with the power to appoint the compilers, invigilators and examiners for all examinations conducted by the Department of Examinations.
Although we have the power to make these appointments, when it comes to actually making these appointments, especially the appointments of university staff, we consult with university veterans and appoint the most suitable person for these tasks. We are taking steps to think of the children and ensure that they receive a quality examination paper.
examine friendly ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍රයක් ලබා දීම සඳහා අපි අවශ්‍ය වෙන පියවර යනවා. දැනට අපි ගනිමින් ඉන්නවා.
However, university lecturers, including professors, have raised several questions regarding the appointment of the chief examiner for the economics examination and the upcoming advanced level examinations.
උසස් පෙළ පැනල් එකේ ඉන්නවා අවුරුදු 30 35 ප්‍රධාන
There are persons in advanced level panels who have served for 30 to 35 years as chief examiners. Why has such a person not been appointed as chief examiner?
It is important to appoint a professor who has experience in economics rather than appoint an individual who is inexperienced.
ආර්ථික විද්‍යා විෂය සුද්ධ වශයෙන් උගන්වනු ලබන දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවක මහාචාර්යවරයෙකුට හෝ
I have a suspicion that the appointment of an individual who is from the management faculty rather than a professor of economics and the fact that this person has no prior experience as an examiner or chief examiner endangers the education and future of the children of this country.
රටේ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය යම් අර්බුදයකට ගමන් කරાવી කියන සැකයත් මා තුල තියෙනවා.
It could be considered that the Commissioner General of Examinations has appointed the chief examiner for the economics examination at the upcoming advanced level examinations, disregarding the arguments raised by 39 university lecturers on the 12th of May, exercising the supreme power that has been vested in him. Action TV made inquiries from the Commissioner General of Examinations regarding an instance where this supreme power has been misused.
එතකොට උසස් පෙළ ගණනාධිකරණයේ ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍ර 2011 හදපු ආචාර්යවරයෙක් අයින් කරනවා පරීක්ෂක.
මම එතනින් තවසම මම කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන එක.
ආයිදා. මේක කියන්නේ
නෑ. නිදර්ශකුවේ නෑ. එහෙම අසද්දලා නෑ.
In spite of the Commissioner General's rejection, an appointment letter was presented to a lecturer who was removed last year following an inquiry. This is that letter. This letter affirms that this individual was removed the previous year. Tomorrow on Action TV, we take a look at the response offered by university lecturers to the challenge extended by the Minister of Education on the 5th of June.
The media unit of the Western Province Chief Minister notes that the student connected to the incident where the principal of the St. Joseph's Girls' School in Grand Pass allegedly demanded 50,000 rupees for admission to the school has been admitted to the Wolvendal College in Colombo. According to a release issued by the media unit, the Chief Minister Prasanna Ranatunga took this decision after considering the concerns of the student's parents that the child would be harassed if admitted to the Grand Pass St. Joseph's Girls' School.
The release further notes that the principal of St. Joseph's Girls' School Grand Pass had acted arbitrarily and delayed admission of the student in question even after the Chief Minister of the Western Province Prasanna Ranatunga ordered the Zonal Education Director to take steps to enroll the student in the school. The media unit also noted that by not enrolling the child into the school, even after a letter stating that the student was selected to the school was issued, is an act of wrong committed by the principal of the school. When inquired by an investigation officer, the principal had stated that she denied entry into the school as the parents of the students failed to follow her instructions and secure aid to the school through a politician. The initial investigation report into this incident recommends that disciplinary action be taken against his principal on the premise of neglecting her duties as a principal and acting in contravention to government circulars. Chief Minister Prasanna Ranatunga has instructed the Secretary to the Provincial Ministry of Education to take immediate disciplinary action against the principal after conducting an investigation.
UNP parliamentarian attorney-at-law Sujeeva Senasinghe met with party activists at the premises of the Ran Kadupathini Devalaya in Kaduwela.
If we don't steal, we need to ensure that our businesses or our economic background is strong, because we are not people who earn from politics. 90% of the people in this government used politics to earn money. They have never run a business. I asked them in Parliament to raise their hands if they have ever run a business. They have never run a business, but they have a first-class Benz and use 7 air conditioners in their house. There is a minister in this electorate who came from the JVP. I know that he has 4 or 5 houses under different names. I even have their addresses. He has a house in Battaramulla with a swimming pool. It is under a different person's name.
Paulita Tevara Peruma says that he will resign from his post as a UNP parliamentarian. The parliamentarian stated that he will hand in his letter of resignation to the party leader tomorrow. The parliamentarian states that he took this decision as the police has not yet conducted a proper investigation into the incident in Alutkama.
The curse of allowing an unwanted meeting to take place on the 15th of last month in Alutkama, Beruwala and Darga town is now being felt by the people. The Sri Lanka police is vested with the responsibility of protecting law and order in the country. However, they fail to do this. I will hand in my letter of resignation to my leader tomorrow. I am a man of my word.
UNP Southern Provincial Councillor Ashoka Dhanavansa convened a media briefing today to explain the reasons behind his decision to step down from the post of organiser of the Rathgama electorate.
I have contested in the general elections on 5 occasions. They will hold the presidential elections first, and within another year and 6 months they will conduct a general election. I haven't been able to get into parliament even after contesting on 5 occasions. So I decided to give that opportunity to someone else. If I remain as an organizer, no one will step forward. When I resign, people will come forward. I only step down from this position. I am not leaving the UMP.
John F. McNulty, the managing director of People Focus Consulting, says that the end of the conflict provides a good opportunity for Japanese businesses to enter Sri Lanka to exploit the markets. McNulty is part of a Japanese delegation currently in Sri Lanka as part of an exploration of emerging markets. The delegation visited the Newsfirst Center in Colombo today.
We're here to help Japanese leaders learn about leading in emerging markets. Well, now that you've had peace for 5 years, this is a perfect opportunity for Japanese leaders to come here. So how do we do that? We work with Adam Lanka Institute here in our great local partner who helps us to meet different people in Sri Lanka for them to really see what's happening on the ground. So we bring them here. But we also have a phase where we go back to Japan and we have those leaders actually present a business model, an actual idea around how they can contribute to Sri Lankan market and society, but also use the strengths of their business.
Newsfirst also spoke to several Japanese delegates who are here in Sri Lanka on the 2-week assignment.
Actually, the difficulty is the speed of the decision. Sri Lanka people quick decision to do that. when he comes some idea. But in Japanese organization, actually the big company, the process of the decision is too long. This is big opportunity for me. I want to think more to contribute to Sri Lanka through this program.
My purpose of the visiting Sri Lanka is so I get a feel for how to business in Sri Lanka.
Actually, we are searching for the way how NGOs can work with private sectors. So I hope I'm going to find something in Sri Lanka only a few days.
I try to develop the new business in India. So after that, we try to enter the Sri Lanka market.
Just now, I'm looking for new infrastructure monitoring system. I hope I find.
Newsfirst is the most trusted news website in Sri Lanka, using a multi-platform responsive layout for a richer user experience. Our news reporting is verified, unbiased, balanced and fearless. We are Sri Lanka's most powerful social media network. Millions trust Newsfirst. That's why we are number one. Access our content on the web, Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. Newsfirst, your life, our news.
Newsfirst.lk has been nominated for the Best Media Site category in the Best Web.lk Awards. Show your support. Entries close on the 9th of July. Use your desktop or mobile device to vote for us. The hyperlink banner is on the top right-hand corner of the Newsfirst.lk website. Do it now.
Still in local news, the father of a 2-year-old boy who set a house on fire in Kiribathgoda, Kuruvita, killing the boy, has been arrested and remanded until the 17th of this month. The suspect was produced before the Ratnapura magistrate today.
This is the house in Kiribangala that was set on fire. The police say the suspect had been separate from his wife and had been making support payments for the wife and child. The suspect had reportedly returned to the house at about 1 a.m. today and set fire to the bed that his wife and child were sleeping on after dousing it in petrol. The suspect had removed the window of the wallpapered room in order to carry out this heinous act. The police say the wife's mother and brother had also been sleeping inside the house at this time. The 2-year-old child was killed in the fire. Police headquarters say the suspect's wife, mother-in-law and brother-in-law who sustained injuries are being treated at the Ratnapura hospital. Hospital sources say that they are not in critical condition.
A couple had died when the motorbike they were travelling on collided with a police jeep in the Kiralakale area in the Ekasa area in Ambalantota. According to the police, the driver of the jeep has been arrested.
Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana said the jeep, which had been on patrol duty, collided with the motorbike last night. The police jeep was taken to the police station this afternoon. These visuals of the motorbike, which was found by the side of the road, was captured by our cameras. 40-year-old Thangalla Gamage Rohana Kumara and 39-year-old Vasanthi Neelavira died in the accident. The police say that the two individuals were the parents of 3 children aged 10, 7 and 4. As of this afternoon, the remains of the 2 individuals hadn't been returned to their residence.
An incident of a laptop being robbed from a computer store located along the Kurunegala-Puttalam road was reported this afternoon.
The robbery was captured by the CCTV cameras. The theft was carried out with the aid of a couple who were disguised as potential buyers. The Kurunegala police stated that investigations have been launched into the incident.
A workshop was held today at the E.L. Senanayake Children's Library Auditorium in Kandy on designing and creating kites. The event is being held in line with Social Integration Week being carried out by the Ministry of National Languages and Social Integration.
Youth representing various communities and associations attended the event, which was held under the auspices of Kandy Assistant District Secretary Indika Besinga. Newsfirst is the media sponsors of the event. The event is being organized by the Ministry of National Languages and Social Integration, UN Volunteers and Kites Sri Lanka. The workshops are leading up to the National Kite Festival, which will be held from the 7th to the 19th of this month along the coastal areas of the country.
Pope Francis has begged forgiveness from the victims of sexual abuse by priests at his first meeting with the victims since his election. He condemned the church's complicity in hiding the abuse and said it must, quote-unquote, weep and make reparation for the grave crimes committed by clerics. He met the 6 victims, 2 each from Ireland, Britain and Germany, after a private morning mass in the Vatican.
Meanwhile, on another side of the Mediterranean, Israel launched a series of airstrikes on Gaza early this morning to quell Hamas rocket fire, and the Islamist group's armed wing said 7 of its gunmen were killed, making it the deadliest day for Hamas since the 2012 cross-border war with the Jewish state.
Israeli military authorities confirmed the strikes, saying they responded to rocket attack against southern Israel, targeting 9 terror sites and concealed rocket launchers. They said the attacks had made direct hits. Hamas said most of the strikes were launched at a gathering point for its members in Gaza's southernmost town of Rafah at the Egyptian border. Another strike was launched in northern Gaza. The attacks followed a surge in rocket strikes at Israel from Gaza, where Hamas is a dominant force. The Israeli military said these attacks have topped 150 since mid-June, including 25 rockets striking Israel on Sunday. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledged to his cabinet on Sunday to quote-unquote do whatever is necessary to restore quiet to southern Israeli communities. Tensions between Israelis and Palestinians have also risen over the burning alive of 16-year-old Mohammed Abu Khudayr of East Jerusalem a week ago, a killing that has sparked protest across Israel's normally quiet Arab towns as well. Israel has arrested 6 Jewish suspects in the teenager's kidnapping and slaying.
Preliminary results suggest that former Afghan Finance Minister Ashraf Ghani is leading the race to replace Hamid Karzai as President of Afghanistan. The Elections Commission stated that Ghani won 56.44% of votes cast in the 14th of June second round, and his opponent Abdullah had 43.56%. Dr. Abdullah led after the first round and has alleged widespread fraud in the runoff. Votes are being rechecked at thousands of polling stations, and the vote comes during a critical year for Afghanistan. Most foreign troops are due to withdraw by the end of 2014. Up next is Sports First.
The National Badminton Selection Committee says a new tournament plan has been drawn up for the Commonwealth Games, including Shetland Adisha Gayatri and addition of the Minister of Sports. The Sri Lankan contingent for the upcoming Games appeared for the officials' photograph today.
The 20th Commonwealth Games is due to begin on the 23rd of this month in Glasgow, Scotland. The Sri Lankan contingent, consisting of 104 competitors and 44 officials, is due to participate in the Games, which has 17 events. The Sri Lankan team, led by weightlifter Sudarshi Pires, posed for their official photograph at the Independence Square today. During the media briefing, which was held following the event, Secretary of the Sri Lanka Olympic Committee Maxwell De Silva charged that certain sports associations have no understanding about the selection process for the Games.
We observed during this time here, some of the association did not meet the criteria of selection. We had few issues, and we hope those officials in those national federation will learn a lesson and not repeat it. We have given 2 years ago those deadlines, they are not met. And one association who has been doing this is athletics. Every time they don't maintain deadlines.
The National Olympic Committee and the Athletic Association failed to obtain the necessary paperwork for athlete Uday Viraj Veerasinghe, who qualified for the championship. Chief Dimission of the Sri Lanka contingent Nishantha Piyasena also noted that national high jump champion Manjula Kumara is yet to receive visa to compete in Glasgow, as his visa application was rejected. A controversy arose when a fifth female badminton player was included in the national contingent without the approval of the SLBA selection committee. However, when inquired by Sports First, National Badminton Selection Committee Chairman Priyantha Wijayasekara noted that a new strategy was drawn up for the competition with the inclusion of the fifth player. The new strategy had to be drawn up after the chairman of the SLBA made a written recommendation in this regard.
On to tennis news now. Novak Djokovic ended his Grand Slam drought and Roger Federer's hopes of a record 8th Wimbledon title with a thrilling 5-set victory.
The 27-year-old Serb came through 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 5-7, 6-4 to win his second Wimbledon and 7th Grand Slam title. After letting a championship point slip in the 4th set, he won Wimbledon's first 5-set final since 2009. Djokovic had lost his previous 3 major finals and will now reclaim the #1 ranking from Rafael Nadal. 32-year-old Federer had hoped to surpass Pete Sampras with an 8th title and become the oldest winner in modern times. The Swiss was whirled on by much of the 15,000-strong crowd throughout the final, with chants ringing around centre court when he reeled off 5 successive games from 5-2 down in the 4th set. But Djokovic recovered his nerve to fend off break points in the decider and clinch a dramatic win after 3 hours and 56 minutes, before kneeling on the turf and eating some grass, just as he had done after winning in 2011.
Well, with that, we wrap up Primetime News at 9. Thank you very much for watching us. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
And I'm Shane Silva. Take care and good night.